Ishmael, the narrator of Herman Melville's 1851 novel Moby Dick, describes the harpooner Queequeg unwrapping his god, putting it on the hearth of their room in an inn, praying to it, and then putting it away. Though the number of harpooners has declined since the 19th century, there's been no lessening of the tendency to like manageable gods who will do our bidding when we want them, but can be put away when we're not interested or don't want to be bothered by them. They are pocket-sized gods, small enough to fit into our ideas, hopes, and demands. Christians say there is only one God, but what we say and how we act do not always match. I've met people who would protest any suggestion that they're not Christian, but whose attitudes toward Mary and other saints go beyond veneration to idolatry, making them polytheists, worshippers of many gods. Idolatry is not limited to religious figures like saints. Nations, races, and even sports teams are handy pocket gods. Judging from the sacrifices we make for it and our obsessive devotion to it, can anyone deny that one of our pocket-sized gods fits nicely into our billfolds? We even manage to turn the one true God into a pocket god. In every war, God is enlisted as a patron of the armed forces of whichever side happens to be Christian. When Christian armies fight Christian armies, God is invoked as champion by chaplains on both sides. In our day-to-day lives, our pocket-sized God is supposed to grant us winning lottery tickets, good weather, and a general sense of well-being. The God in our pocket becomes a teddy bear. More sophisticatedly, we try to fit God into our various philosophies and theologies, cramming God into our brains. The dogma of the Trinity says no to all that. Any God that can fit into my pocket, into my mind, into my concepts, and into my expectations is too small to be the one true God. Any creation by my desires, hopes, prejudices, selfishness, dreams, or intellect is not God, regardless of what I may call it. Part of the mystery of the Trinity is the assurance that we can learn something about God by looking at beings who have personalities, ourselves. One of the surest things we know about ourselves is that every single one of us is beyond definition, though not beyond relationship. People are not predictable. They cannot be put into our pocket, and whenever we try to capture the essence of another, he or she shatters our neat ideas. I cannot even neatly characterize myself. Yet we can hear, heed, and love one another. To say Trinity is to declare that there is something about God that is, at its core, a relationship of love among the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It is a love that overflows to include us and all creation. From what we know of love among ourselves, we can guess, hope, and intuit that the way to come to know God is to love. Love does not squeeze another into our ideas, but allows the other to remain other, just as the other allows me to be me. It is here that God does for us what we could not do. God climbs into our pockets. The mystery of the Incarnation is that God, whom we cannot capture, comes into our lives in terms we can grasp, not in intellectual terms, but in terms of love. God does not cease to be God. God does not cease to be beyond all we can imagine. However, God shows us that we can be friends, lovers. Trinity Sunday reminds us that God can get into our pocket and become knowable and lovable, not because of what I do, but because God chooses to be known and loved, chooses to be in my pocket. That may be the most wonderful thing that God has done for us. One God in three persons is beyond us and would always be beyond us, except by a divine decision to be known by us, known as truly other, yet truly loving.
you.